program was the Leadership Challenge, The Art of Greatness Now. And what we've learned is that to begin to take on the qualities of great leadership, we first have to have this understanding of ourselves and awareness of ourselves and acceptance of who we are in the moment, and this ability to inquire into our motivations and our reasons for doing what we're doing, and then an intention, a conscious intention of how to show up, how to impact in the moment. So today we're really going to focus in on this last piece of the connection between how I show up and how I impact. Our followers look to us for greatness. And so what we want to do is talk about how do we show up? How do we come and be present to them? So what we're talking about here is centered presence. The ability to find in ourselves that place where we, all three of our centers, are aligned. And Daniel Goleman talks about presence as one of the emotional intelligence qualities, and he defines it as the silent sphere of energy that emanates not only from the mind in physical form, but from your heart. So all three, which conveys moment by moment the emotional truth of who you really are, deep down, and what you stand for, care, and believe about. So it's the alignment, and then we're saying this centered presence, which is the awareness and engagement of the whole body in all of our actions. And it's centered because it has purpose, right? And when we talk about this thing called type, what we know is that the statistic I've heard is 93% of the time we're on automatic. The goal here is not to be not on automatic, because we can't help that, right? We are going to be. But it's to widen the amount of time we're intentional, right? If today you're 92% on automatic, that means you've increased by 1% of being more intentional, more conscious, right? So we're not looking at it either or. We're looking at increments of increasing our capacity to be more present, more aware, more intentional as we walk through our day. All of us have had the experience of being centered. Having moments, what are the benefits? Why is it so important? Why are we making such a big deal about this?
My experience with it is that I am more effective and more peaceful.
More effective, more peaceful, less stress, more focused, clarity.
I think it also is, a lot of my anxiety comes from reviewing the past and preparing for the future. And so when those moments when I'm like present, then the chatter quiets.
We do not enter into our day saying, I want to go and blow up everybody's world. Or I want to impact that. We don't. But we go into it rather unconsciously. We go into it just, kind of walking through it with our task list, with our things to do, with, the results we need to get. And so what we're wanting to do is just add to the task list, so to speak, is this intentionality about how I want to impact people throughout the day.
I think another quality for me in terms of being centered or present is that I'm not anticipating what's and I'm also not maybe in the same vein creating assumptions.
Yes.
So I'm much more sort of open
Yes.
to what is, and sort of let that be my guide.
When we're centered, the ability for the instinctual center to enter in, where intuition, right, where our ability to flow in that moment, and that's actually, you know, the next it's being present with all of yourself is fundamental to effective action. David, you know, has always taught behavior follows attention and energy, right? So if my attention, and I would even add their intention, attention and energy, right? What I'm focused on, my physiology, is it in alignment? And then am I intentional? One of the reasons why we had you write a little bit about the characteristics of being in the head and the characteristics of being in the heart and the characteristics of being in the body is know the qualities of the differences of being in your head and your heart and your body. That's another way to be able to identify, where am I? When I'm in my head, it's this scattered, fuzzy, very light but dense quality. When I'm in my gut, it is solid, firm, right? Calm. So know the qualities of the difference, because then, see, and I don't even mention my heart, because for me, that's where I have to really work. You know, because for me, it's always been, that's where all the activity of, you know, nervousness and anxiousness and all of that is. So to really, for me, that developmental piece, but we each have those pieces. But know the quality, because if you can recognize the quality of where you are in the moment, you can make the shift back to wholeness. So when fully present, we're more attuned to those around us, to the needs of situations, and we're fluidly adapting to what is needed. So that's what we want. You know, again, it's that ability to not be aware, not be operating from the past and not be operating from the future, but from here, now, with no expectations, with only intention to be here.
For me, this leadership, being present, is the best way to build trust with your employees or whoever you're trying to lead. And when you lose presence with someone, you start to erode the trust, if not break it.
Yes.
I think it's the strongest way to build trust, regardless of your type. You're simply present in your type with someone in that moment. It's the best way to achieve goals. It's the best way to build trust toward whatever business purpose you're trying to make.
Yeah, we always say, you know, it takes time to build trust, and it's lost in an instant, right? And so every interaction counts. You step into this role. I mean, that's the up and the downside of leadership is that once you step into this role, you are expected to be modeling how you want your employees to be behaving. How do you know when you're lost? What are your signs? What are your cues? What are your signals? So let's talk about, you know, what happens, how do we regain it? All right, so I've got these cues and these signals. I wake up and I go, you know, I've lost center here, right? How do you regain it? Well, there's this thing called the recovery principle. It's the length of time that you can stay focused is not as important as how quickly you recognize that you've lost it and quickly you can get back into it, right? So it doesn't matter that your attention has wandered or that you've lost your sense of presence or being centered. What it is about that you're able to develop these strategies for recovering it, right? And the deal here is that by recognizing the signs, your own personal signs of losing it, and then you have in your tool bag these strategies for regaining it, that's what it's about. And the real deal here is that you're the only one that can do it.